The Oklahoma Highway Patrol is tightening its belt as the Department of Public Safety wrestles with shortfalls brought on by the state's continuing budget crisis. The agency is looking to the legislature for help in avoiding more painful cuts, but prospects for additional funding look bleak as the state once again faces another multi-million-dollar budget hole.
These are difficult times for the Highway Patrol. To deal with the budget shortfalls, the patrol last summer implemented a hiring freeze, offered voluntary buyouts to civilian employees, and canceled the 65th Patrol Academy, which had been scheduled for next year. Highway Patrol Chief Ricky Adams says those steps, while necessary, left them critically short of personnel.
We believe we need to have, as a minimum requirement to man all the missions that we're asked to perform, a trooper count of 950 troopers. Right now, we're at 803, and that's the commissioner down.
With revenue continuing to fall, the department implemented new cost-cutting measures December 1st, including a 100-mile-per-day limit on how far troopers could drive.
We're going to go to whatever call we're sent to, and then the rest of the time, the troopers are just going to have to find a place to sit, and they're going to have to sit and wait for a call to respond to.
Adams says troopers will still respond to situations like October's manhunt for Michael Vance, who killed 2 relatives and shot 3 law enforcement officers before being shot to death by troopers in western Oklahoma.
We had troopers from all over the state that was at that manhunt, and so they're there at that critical point that we need them on the ground, yet the areas that they come from, they're not there.
And that leaves those areas vulnerable.
When it takes longer for a trooper to respond to a call because there's not as many of them, or the distances they're having to travel to get to a call, that does put safety at risk.
DPS Commissioner Michael Thompson was glad troopers were available to assist in the manhunt for Vance.
But the trooper that everybody sees on the video that's engaging Vance going down that road, he drove from Okmulgee, Oklahoma, 237 miles to be in a position to protect western Oklahoma and protect its partners.
Earlier this year, the agency sought a $12 million supplemental appropriation to help cover part of the shortfall. Thompson says by cutting costs, they've been able to reduce that amount to $6 million. Whether DPS will get all or part of that supplemental appropriation is uncertain. New House Appropriations and Budget Chair Leslie Osborne says lawmakers are taking the request seriously.
DPS has had several concerns, and I know they've enacted some measures. They've had some furloughs. They've looked about limiting the miles that troopers drive every day. But at the end of the day, we've got to weigh that out with a budget hole.
Governor Mary Fallin this week projected the state would be looking at a budget hole of from $500 to $600 million when the State Equalization Board meets on Wednesday. Osborne says that means lawmakers will have to prioritize funding, although she agrees that public safety is definitely a core function of government.
But I think we'd also consider it important to look at foster care and that people are taking care of children in our state. I think we'd consider it important the Health Care Authority, the waiver lists, the elderly, the aged and blind and disabled, people that we have programs for there, higher education, common education, teacher pay raise. There's a lot of things out there that are worthy in core services.
Osborne also questions whether the Highway Patrol's manpower shortage is quite as dire as it sounds.
Trooper levels are not that different than they are when the commissioner came in, and so we look at different things. I think there's even more troopers on the turnpike roads than there ever have been.
Thompson says that's true, but adds it's because the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority paid for the most recent Trooper Academy. That meant that when 29 cadets graduated in 2016, 29 troopers were assigned to the state's turnpikes rather than to other roads and highways across the state.
I'd rather hire these men and women, train them, and put them on a turnpike so that we could have them if we need them, rather than not hire them at all. So when an emergency like Vance or a fire or a blizzard or a tornado occurs, we'll have some manpower to pull from.
Thompson says the cuts the agency has been forced to make, while painful, are necessary to avoid the possibility of furloughs for uniformed troopers.
We've never furloughed troopers in the state of Oklahoma, ever. So I don't want to be that guy that makes that call that we have to furlough. And I think it'd be a huge hit on morale. I think it'd be tough to keep guys going if we had to furlough. They're just feeling a little unappreciated